What is going on, guys? JD from New York here. Thank you so much for stopping by the channel on this Sunday morning. Hell in a Cell Sunday, October 8th, 2017. Remember, tonight on the channel, immediately following Hell in a Cell, I will hit record and begin my review and results for Hell in a Cell tonight. Make sure you guys are tuned to the channel. It will be going live, hopefully, if all things go well and as planned, by 12:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, man. So make sure you guys are tuned into that. As always, got to thank my boy at MikeWill87 on Twitter for another beautiful thumbnail and layout for Hell in a Cell this Sunday tonight on the WWE Network. As always, if you guys need layouts and thumbnails, he is your man. Follow him on Twitter. Tell him how much of a good job that he is at MikeWill87 on Twitter. I want to thank everybody for really coming out and supporting that Fight TV is now sponsoring Off the Script. They will be hopefully a sponsor going forward for every time that there's a big UFC event, or every time that there's a big Ring of Honor event, or whatever the fuck they're going by now. GFW, Impact, TNA, whatever they're going by. If you guys like that company down south in good old Georgia, Impact Wrestling, there you go, man. So I want to thank everybody over at Fight TV for seeking me out and bringing me on board and really thinking that, you know what, this guy's worth our time and our money. Let's put those resources into him, man. He's got a decent following. He gets a ton of views on YouTube for a channel his size. Maybe we could do some business with this guy. And I want to thank everybody for downloading the app. I want to thank everybody for really sticking with me. Obviously, there's a few people out there. JD's a sellout. JD does more branding and marketing than anybody else. He's made a turn for the worse, this and that. If those people were my managers, I'd have 0 dimes like Enzo Amore. I'd be broke. So those are the people I don't want watching my show. Yet I'm pretty sure you're watching me now anyway. You know, I made a turn for the worse. I hope he resorts back to his old ways. What? The old ways of me not making any money? The old ways of me not branching out and building my empire here? Like, what do you want from me? So what you're telling me is that you don't want to support the content behind the guy. You just want your content for free. You want the wrestling news and you want nothing else with it, right? Those are the people I want watching me. Go watch Sean's View Entertainment. Okay, because he's got 0 sponsors. You won't see a goddamn fucking ad or any advertisements on his video yet. You'll get nursery rhymes, and then you'll get nursery rhymes for about a minute and a half, and then you get 30 seconds of news. Go ahead. Go, by all means, go watch that trash over on YouTube.com. Right? So I want to thank all the people that have stuck with me and have congratulated me on my new venture, and hopefully more to come. I am working on more. I am in talks with more people about sponsoring the show. The more sponsors, the better. The more sponsors, the more the brand and the podcast will get out there to a bunch of new people, man. So thank you guys so very much. Podcast is also available on iTunes, Podbean, Stitcher Radio, Audio Boom, and Google Play Music. Make sure you guys go and download that on the podcast. Make sure you download the Fight TV app. Make sure to follow me on Twitter at JDFROMNY206. Make sure to please subscribe down below and hit that bell. Turn on that bell for all notifications so that you guys are up to date on daily uploads right here on the channel. Going to be another big week coming, man. We got Hell in a Cell, Monday Night Raw, Smackdown, Walking Dead coming with episode number 4 live stream. That's going to be this week. I got to do another live stream for my patrons over at Patreon, for my Mario Kart people over there, man. You guys are pledging $5 a month for Patreon and Mario Kart, which people do enjoy, by the way, because it was one of my most popular series. And if you guys go back and look at the views that those videos were doing, yes, people want to see it for sure. But I might be doing a live stream sometime this afternoon before the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view. I don't know yet. If not, I'll do a double live stream on Monday for Mario Kart for you guys. But speaking of Patreon, man, I want to thank all my patrons for the month of October so far. Thank you guys so much for sticking with me. Patreon is a place where you feel like, you want to support your favorite content creator because you feel like their content is worth it enough to support them monthly. You believe in what I do here. I might not offer as much as anybody else, because quite frankly, I do so much more compared to everybody else on my regular channel. How much more content am I supposed to put out on top of what I'm doing? This is what the people talking trash about me, that they don't realize. They think it's easy to sit here by yourself and record an hour and a half of off the script per day. Off the script sometimes is nearing 3.5, 4 hours long each weekend. I mean, if you don't want to support me, fine. But for those people that do, and for those people that appreciate the content that I'm putting out on a weekly basis for free, and you guys want to support that, you guys are the reason why I continue to do what I'm doing, amongst all this bullshit. Mario Kart is great. Yeah, I've slacked on the off-the-script extra, or not off-the-script extra, off-the-script retro. I'm going to do my best to get another episode out, But on top of everything that I'm doing already, I have very little time for myself. I have very little time to game. I have very little time to sleep. I have very little time to eat. I have very little time to go see my parents, because I'm always home working. I have to force myself to get outside and go take a drive or go take a walk somewhere just to get some fresh air. Go to Dunkin' Donuts up the street and get a coffee, That's the majority of my day. I walk up the street to Dunkin' Donuts, get a coffee, and come back and begin recording or stream or something, So I might not offer as much as everybody else on the Patreon, but for those who are pledging, they're doing it because they appreciate the content that I give you weekly, consistently, scheduled every single week. And I love you guys for that. And thank you for supporting me and having my back in times of need. So you guys, if I was around you, I'd buy you all a fucking round, But I want to thank everybody for the Patreon, man. Thank you guys so much for being a Patreon for the month of October. Shout-outs going to the following people before we get into the news, man. Espen Rutgerson, $2 pledge, man. Thank you so much. We got Elwood Pipkins raising his pledge from $1 to $5. We got Lester Bridges pledging $5. We got Canadian Basement. What's up, brother? One of the best JD character models in WWE 2K17. Hope to see the same in 2K18, bro. But I'm going to model my character off of the glorious one, Bobby Roode. Canadian Basement pledging $1. We got Mini Dragon pledging $5. We got Val Reyna pledging $5. David Cochran pledging $5. Clifton Mellinson pledging $5. We got Chris Moust. What's up, brother? Pledging $1. And Kiyomi216 pledging $5. Thank you to everybody who's pledged this month. A lot of Mario Kart out there. A lot of people want the Mario Kart. You're pledging the $5 or more to get the Mario Kart and everything else that comes with being a member of Team JD, man. Thank you guys so much. Those are your Patreon shout-outs. One word here, one little side note. My brother is finished with his recording of the new Off the Script theme song. He just got to get into the studio. I told him, when's it going to be? He wants to get it done ASAP. Tony's writing one, and all Tony needs to do is lay solos down for my brother's track and his own track. They're both writing 2 different songs for Off the Script, man. So at that point, we're going to get that. I'll debut them on the channel, and then I'm going to get some fancy little intro to go alongside that. The last one was 30 seconds. Figured we make this one 30 seconds. It is what it is, man. But my brother and Tony of Legionary and Condition Critical and Chaos Sanctuary, Tony, the fucking phenom that he is, both Frank and Tony are writing theme songs for Off the Script, man. It should be very, very interesting in the months moving forward. I can't wait to see, and I may even vlog our way to the studio and get some up-close action for you guys for the channel, man. So if you guys are interested in that, let me know down in the comments, man. But enough of me talking. I got a lot of news. You're going to laugh at this video, man. This is a very humorous, very hilarious episode of Off the Script. I'm recording the beginning after I did the actual podcast. So thank you guys so much for continued support. And you're going to laugh at this one. There's a lot of good stuff in here. A lot of stuff to, make an enjoyable afternoon before we get into Hell in a Cell tonight, which I'm sure we'll all be disappointed with at the end of the night. But thank you guys so much for supporting me in any way that you can. And there's a lot of different ways to support the channel. And you guys are taking advantage of all of that. Thank you to everybody who just continues to do right by this channel. And I will see you guys on the flip side, man. I'll see you guys tonight for Hell in a Cell. Enjoy the podcast. But before I do that, let's have a word from Matt Hardy before we get into episode 190 of Off the the script.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am Broken Nut Hardy. This is JD from New York. Actually, delete to JD from New York. I am Cletus Vessel. Make sure to check out his wonderful show off the script. It's absolutely delightful.
Gonna start off with this news, man. Potential opponents for Asuka at TLC. As you guys are aware, TLC is a Raw-branded exclusive pay-per-view that's being built behind pushing the Roman Reigns initiative with this Shield reunion. TLC last year was a Smackdown-branded pay-per-view and featured a main event of AJ Styles versus Dean Ambrose for the WWE Championship, a match in which James Ellsworth turned heel on Dean Ambrose and cost him a WWE Championship title reign. So it looks like both Raw and SmackDown now have TLC in the last couple of years. It looks like WWE is flip-flopping back and forth on which brands get pay-per-views. One year it's Raw, the next year it's SmackDown, so on and so forth. But as for this year's TLC, Asuka will be making her much-anticipated WWE main roster debut at TLC, Tables, Ladders, and Chairs, in just a couple of weeks. Vignettes have been airing for the past few weeks on Raw to hype up her appearance. But the real question that everybody is asking is, who will Asuka be facing at the event? According to Dave Meltzer in the Wrestling Observer newsletter, there are 3 opponents right now in mind that are rumored to be Asuka's first opponent at the event in her first singles match for Monday Night Raw. Those names are Nia Jax, Emma, and Alicia Fox. If it is not a singles match, Meltzer speculates that Asuka could join the team of Bayley and Sasha Banks to take on Nia Jax, Emma, and Alicia Fox in a 6-woman tag. That is the news right now on Asuka. The very little news that I got, that's the news I got on Asuka. How should WWE book Asuka for TLC in a one-on-one match? How do I think WWE is going to go? Well, the fact that Alicia Fox was on Lilian Garcia's podcast, and I'll be talking about that in a second, complaining about her status in the company and complaining about how she has not been booked at all on Monday Night Raw. Then all of a sudden on Monday Night Raw, she's in a match in the women's division. So she goes on the podcast, she complains, it makes the airwaves, it gets on the dirt sheets, WWE picks it up, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Alicia Fox is in a tag team with Emma on Monday Night Raw against Bayley and Sasha Banks. Is that how things work now? People have to go on podcasts and start complaining about why they're not being used on WWE television or why they're not being used in storylines. So I just find that to be completely weird. WWE's never liked Emma. They've never pushed Emma outside of what we're seeing now. And the only reason why they pushed Emma is because they just felt like they needed more star power or more push for this Fatal 4-Way, which turned into a Fatal 5-Way at No Mercy for the WWE Raw Women's Championship. I don't know why they're pushing Emma. I don't know why they're pushing Emma. WWE hasn't gotten behind Emma, and the fact that they all of a sudden just put her on TV for the last month and a half doesn't mean anything. Nia Jax, they ain't going to job Nia Jax out to Asuka at all. That would be ridiculous. There's a reason why Mickie James didn't beat Nia Jax clean on Monday Night Raw, because they have she has a match rather with Alexa Bliss coming up at TLC for the Raw Women's Championship. So you figure the challenger would get a nice big win and a nice boost of momentum going into a title match against your champion. Why didn't they give Mickie James the win over Nia Jax clean on Monday Night Raw? Because they don't want to job out Nia Jax. They want to keep Nia Jax looking dominant. Because if Nia Jax takes a pin, where does that mystique go about Nia Jax? Where does all that momentum go? Right down the fucking toilet. So that's why they didn't job out Nia Jax to Mickie James on Monday Night Raw, but they gave Mickie James the disqualification victory over Nia Jax. Nia Jax is completely out of the question. They will not job Nia Jax out to Asuka in her first match. I could see Emma, but I see Alicia Fox. Alicia Fox complains that she's not being used, so they're going to use her to get Asuka over. They're going to use her to get the next big thing in the women's division over. I see it being Alicia Fox, or I could see it being Emma. I would rather it be Emma, because Emma, to me, is one of the best female performers in the entire division. And I think she could go toe-to-toe. She could really get a competitive match out of Asuka. But how competitive do you want it to be? You want Asuka to be dominant. You want her to pretty much steamroll her way through and have a dominating victory over anybody that she faces at TLC. But the six-man tag thing is not going to work for me. And I'm pretty sure it's not going to work for you guys for the same reasons. Why would Asuka want to team with anybody when she's coming in as the Rogue? She's coming in here trying to steal everybody's thunder. She wants to be the Raw Women's Champion. She's undefeated. She doesn't want to team with anybody. She wants to fucking kill everybody. That's the mentality that Asuka should have. Don't put her in a six-man tag and have her befriend and hug and high-five and all this other prissy shit with Sasha Banks and Bayley. No, I don't want Asuka anywhere near that shit. Asuka is a destroyer. Asuka is going to go to Monday Night Raw and she's going to just slash throats and tear heads off shoulders, and that's what she's got to do. So either give her Alicia Fox or Emma. I see WWE giving her Alicia Fox. I would go with Emma. Even though it's a loss for Emma, at least it would be a competitive match, and it would be a women's match that I think we could all get behind, and we can see Emma be competitive, and we can see Asuka be somewhat competitive before she gets a dominating victory at TLC. So that is the latest right now on Asuka and her pretty much upcoming debut for WWE Raw at TLC. Speaking of TLC, there are a few possible matches being rumored right now, according to Meltzer as well. He was on Wrestling Observer Radio this week, and he talked about TLC and what the matches could be for the event. The first one, obviously, is everybody, is talking about the Shield versus The Miz, Cesaro, and Sheamus. I don't know how likely that's going to be. Ryan Satin and James McKenna of Pro Wrestling Sheet said that match is absolutely not set in stone, so I don't know what WWE's direction could be. I don't know why Braun Strowman is being thrusted into the middle of all this with Ambrose and Rollins if he's not going to have a big part in this thing. But then again, we see The Miz, Sheamus, and Cesaro, feuding with Sheamus and Cesaro feuding with Rollins and Ambrose respectively, and then The Miz just pretty much dominating Roman Reigns for 2 weeks now after the match, So it is what it is, man. I could see it being that. I think that's what WWE is going to go with, but I really don't care about anything concerning those 6 individuals. And I think that is an absolute colossal waste of a Shield reunion, bringing them back for The Miz, Sheamus, and Cesaro. Then you got goons telling me that, JD, why don't you just, take a seat back and enjoy it? This is going to get The Miz over. No, it's not. How is this going to get The Miz over? The Miz is already over on his own. He doesn't need the Shield. He doesn't need this mockery of a Shield reunion to get over. The only reason why the Shield is being put together is because of the reasons that I gave you. And if you don't understand that, then nobody can help you, man. Nobody can help you. This is a waste. Roman Reigns has taken care of most of the Miztourage on his own. Sheamus and Cesaro lost the tag team championships to Rollins and Ambrose. So what type of what type of dominating force is this going up against the Shield? What kind of formidable opponents are they really going to be for the Shield? And I stated this, the Shield should be brought back for a major WrestleMania or major Survivor Series showdown. War Games is coming to NXT. War Games would have been the ultimate culmination of bringing back a Shield reunion for a one-time deal if you wanted that thing to happen. But WWE didn't go through with it. WWE did not want to build up a formidable opponent for the Shield. They had all these opportunities. They still have all these opportunities. You had the Bullet Club reunion of Styles, Gallows, and Anderson when they first made their mark in WWE. You got Sanity down in NXT. You got Adam Cole, Bobby Fish, and Kyle O'Reilly. You could have waited until those guys got stronger and that stable got deeper, right? Who was the last stable? And I mentioned this. Who was the last stable that the Shield went up against? It was Evolution. If they're not going up against guys like that, then what is the point? It only points a finger to one thing and one thing only. WWE's reeking of desperation to get Roman Reigns over. They are out of ideas. There's no more eggs in the basket. Their last egg cracked. It fell on the floor. And they're hoping that Roman Reigns gets over as a babyface. Well, what is this? A Band-Aid? This is a Band-Aid over what WWE hasn't realized in 4 years. It's going to be a Band-Aid. He's going to be cheered alongside Rollins and Ambrose. And then when the Shield reunion is no more and they go back to pushing the Roman Reigns initiative, people are slowly going to wake up once again. It doesn't work, and it's not going to work. This was made extremely obvious to Miz, Sheamus, and Cesaro on Monday Night Raw. And that seems to be the plan right now as far as what we see on television. There were original plans that Braun Strowman could be involved in some way because of his interactions with Ambrose and Rollins. It doesn't look like that will be the case anymore, and Strowman might be moving on to something else. What that something else is right now, I have absolutely no idea. The only thing I could think of is Samoa Joe, and I don't even know if that is on track to happening because I don't know when Samoa Joe is going to come back to WWE, and I don't know when he is due back in the WWE, but that's the only thing that would make sense right now on Raw for Braun Strowman. And that, not to take anything away from Samoa Joe, but the fact that they had all these plans for Braun Strowman going into No Mercy with Brock Lesnar, and then literally 4 weeks later, they have absolutely nothing for him going into TLC. So, again, I beg to question, why didn't WWE give Braun Strowman the Universal Championship when they had the chance? All of this could have been rectified, and the title would have been on Raw, and you would have had your part-timer sit home like part-timers usually do, while your full-timer, who is deserving of something, like the Universal Championship, could have run with it for a couple of months until we get to the Royal Rumble. So, I don't know why they didn't do that. Meltzer says that Kalisto will be the one to challenge Enzo Amore for the Cruiserweight Championship. Yawn, snore, and all those other words that go along with falling asleep. It looks like Enzo's contract, where no one can touch him, will be the loophole for them to give Kalisto the match and not Neville his rematch, at least for right now. Finn Balor versus Bray Wyatt, or Sister Abigail, as we reported yesterday on Off the Script. If you guys missed that, go check that link within the video. Annotations there. Who is Sister Abigail, a.k.a. Bray Wyatt? They will be facing off for a 4th time. Do you care? No, I'm sure you don't care. So the likely card is this right now from what we see on WWE television. Nothing besides Alexa Bliss and Mickie James and Finn Balor versus Bray Wyatt is confirmed. Shield versus Miz, Sheamus, and Cesaro. Alexa Bliss versus Mickie James. Asuka versus to be announced. Finn Balor versus Bray Wyatt. Kalisto versus Enzo Amore. Hasn't been made official, but WWE probably going down that path. Braun Strowman versus to be announced. Those are the early TLC predictions right now for the card in just a few weeks. I'm not excited about that whatsoever. Where's the TLC match? Is the Shield match going to be the TLC match? Is it? There's got to be some type of stipulation then. What are they climbing the ladder for? Maybe the tag team titles and the Intercontinental title are on the line in that ladder match. Maybe that would make me a little bit more interested. Just throwing that little loophole in there. But as of right now, from what I see, I'm not interested in anything here besides Asuka debuting and what they're really going to do with Bray Wyatt, which is ultimately going to be a failure. So that is the latest on TLC in a couple of weeks for the Raw branded pay-per-view. Moving on, man, I got more news here, and we're going to talk about, if I could pull up my notes here, computer's not loading, Lita. Lita revealing that WWE will be bringing back the Women's Tag Team Championships after 30 years. Now, if you're like me, and you feel this way, I'm sure many of you do, some of you feel like there are enough championships in WWE, but if Lita is to be believed, and I don't know why she would, I mean, she just mouths off things, and we really can't hold anything of credibility to Lita. So there will be at least one more, according to Lita, or 2 more, according to Lita. As the women's division in WWE continues to get bigger and stronger with each passing month, there may end up being a need for more than 2 belts to spread around. With female superstars having a Money in the Bank briefcase, Hell in a Cell match, and being in the main event, why not a tag team championship as well? Lita is a former 4-time WWE Women's Champion who was inducted into the Hall of Fame back in 2014. She hasn't been in the ring in quite some time, but she still has a lot to do with the company, and even recently called the Mae Young Classic next to Hall of Famer Jim Ross. Knowing all of that, she is still in the know with many of the things happening in wrestling, and she may have given away a bit more than she should have. As reported by Give Me Sport, Lita recently participated in a Q&A session in Paris, France, and there were a number of great inquiries thrown at her. One of those questions included the idea of a women's tag team division and a championship being added to WWE, and she most certainly didn't deny that could happen. Not only does Lita like the idea of having a women's tag team division, but she spoiled the fact that WWE has been looking into it. And this has been common knowledge for months now. It's been a rumor going around, just like the rumor of a women's Royal Rumble come Philadelphia in January. And I quote, this is what Lita says: "There has been talks of tag team titles for the women's division, and I love that they first introduced the Money in the Bank briefcase. That's been a long time coming, and that adds an element of surprise within the title picture." End quote. That would be huge for WWE to introduce a women's tag team championship, to add yet another accolade to this women's revolution. But it wouldn't be the first time. A little trip through history here. Back in 1983, Velvet McIntyre and Princess Victoria were recognized as the first ever WWF Women's Tag Team Champions after the promotion separated from the NWA. By early 1989, the titles were vacated and abandoned, with the Glamour Girls being the last team to hold them. If WWE were to bring the titles back now, almost 30 years after they were last held by anybody, there would need to be a bigger women's roster. Lita believes the same thing, but she knows that there are more than enough women on the NXT roster to make a tag division work. "I would love," and she quotes, "I would love to see these rumored tag team titles appear sooner rather than later. But for that to happen, I hope they bring up these women that are ready in NXT, or some women they've seen on the Mae Young Classic, to expand the roster." Wow, Lita with a brilliant idea. Is WWE going to take her up on that fantastic, orgasmic, unbelievable notion? I doubt it. According to the goons that are on the WWE main roster, there's more than enough on the Raw roster alone to have women's tag team championships. Are you serious? How could you even conceive bringing tag team championships to any brand if you don't have a division that is at least as big as the men? Seriously. Because you're already going to have a number one contender and a champion fighting over the main championship in which that division is held by. Then you're going to take two women to make champion, and then you're going to take another two women to have as number one contenders. So that's pretty much the entire division right there. From what we've seen on both Raw and SmackDown, that is the entire division. I don't know how they're going to go about this. I don't know how they're going to work this. But I hope it's not this one thing I'm about to tell you guys. I hope. In fact, I hope they don't bring tag team championships to the women's division. I just don't want them. I don't want them. I think it's a ridiculous idea. I don't think the time is now. And I hope that WWE doesn't bring a universal tag team championships to the women's division for both Raw and SmackDown. Because then that takes away the element of a brand split. And we're furthering the decay of the brand split even further. And I don't want that. Because realistically, if you combine the Raw women's division and the SmackDown women's division, you might have enough for a main singles women's championship, and then you would have enough for tag team champions and then likely contenders. But then again, the idea is going to be, are you just going to pair these random women up together? Or are you going to find legit women and give them gimmicks and give them characters and give them team names? And are you going to give them, a look in which they are, by appearance, a tag team? Because I don't want WWE to pair an Alicia Fox and a Dana Brooke together and just say, yeah, Dana Brooke and Alicia Fox are going for the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships. No, that's not going to work to me. It's not going to work in my eyes. This entire discussion, all this is going to do is going to bring up the point of, why did WWE even have a brand split to begin with? That's all that's going to do. Or why didn't they do exactly what I stated about a year and a half ago? I was the first one and criticized for it. Now you're going to go back and tell me and everybody else, well, JD was right. He must not be that big of a goon. The women should have been on one brand completely. Completely. If you want to shake up and you want to add tag team championships, you better fucking shake it up. And I mean Take that motherfucker, pour the liquor into the shaker, and shake that shit up and pour it over ice, bitch. That's what you better do. Seriously. If you're gonna do this, all the women need to be on one brand. You get rid. And I know they're not going to do that because they got a Money in the Bank, they got a Smackdown championship, they got a Raw championship. They did all this, and they created these championships without thinking about anything. Now they want to add more championships, which is going to devalue everything else. It's going to be worthless when they arrive because there's not going to be any competition for it. It's not going to be any competition for it. All it's going to do, it's going to be used as fuel to get Charlotte over as the greatest of all time, and it's going to give WWE a reason to put a championship on Bayley and Sasha when they should realistically be fighting for the main championship. There should be competition on one fucking brand for the women. You got 5 women on Monday Night Raw that you use regularly. You got 5 women on SmackDown that you use regularly. That's a division to me. That's a division to me. You want to add more from NXT? You want to add Peyton Royce. You want to add Billie Kay. You want to add Liv Morgan, right? You want to bring up a few people that you've seen in the Mae Young Classic. Then you start getting into the 14, 15, 16 area. That's enough for a singles championship and a number 1 contender. And that's good enough for a tag team champion and a number 1 contender. All on one brand. All on one brand. And you put them on Monday Night Raw. Because that would be a great way to flesh out the 3 hours on Monday Night Raw. You can't put an entire division like that on SmackDown Live where they can't even fill 2 hours of time and they're leaving off literally half the roster. You put them on Monday Night Raw. The entire women's division should have been placed on Monday Night Raw. The tag team division should have been on SmackDown Live. Seriously. Or if WWE wanted to have fun with this fucking thing, the tag team should have been on both shows, because everybody loves tag team wrestling. Or if you want tag team wrestling, you would have got it with the women's division. That would have been a lot more easier of a transition to put the men's tag team division on SmackDown Live. At least we'd be getting tag team wrestling on both brands in some way. One with the females, one with the males. Do you see where I'm coming from? Because WWE doesn't have tag teams right now to begin with. They got the New Day, they got the Usos, they broke up everybody on SmackDown. The Hardys are gone for the next 8 months because of Jeff Hardy's injury, which I got news on in a little bit. You know, you got the Usos, you got the New Day, you got Breezango, you got the Ascension. It's 4 teams on SmackDown Live right there. I'm not counting the Colognes because WWE never even gave thought to the Colognes. The Hype Bros, they'll be broken up by the pay-per-view on Sunday night. Tonight. They'll be gone. There'll be no more Hype Bros after tonight. Zack Ryder's turning heel. Then you got the Revival. Then you got Sheamus and Cesaro. Then you got the Club. That's enough for a division. That's enough for a division. 2 tag team matches per SmackDown. You could do that. Everybody loves tag team wrestling. You know? 1 week you do 2, 1 week you do 1, not to overexpose it, right? You mix and match the teams. You get one team on 1 week, you get another team on another week. Champions can sit back in a casual tag team championship match here and there, just to keep the titles competitive. And then you start bringing up more teams. 1 team here. Another team there. You know? I don't understand this. Why is it so easy for me to just shoot ideas with no fucking script? I got no fucking script here. I got no paperwork. I write down bullet points on my notepad here to go off of, and that's it. I got no fucking notes here. Everything I'm shooting at you comes from here. And I've stated this for over 1.5 years now. WWE doesn't need women's tag team championships. And if you want to do something like this, the entire division's got to be on one brand. You're not going to do... What are they going to do? They're going to add 2 brands of tag team championships? My God, that would be absolutely horrendous. Horrendous. It'd be a joke. We'd be watching a circus full of clowns instead of professional wrestling. Because at that point, there's no hope. Nobody in that company knows what to do. I hope that this idea never comes to be. Never. And I feel the same way about the Royal Rumble. The women do not deserve a Royal Rumble. I'm sorry. I'm going to be in the minority here because I know I'm going to get crucified for that. Why do you want to see another Royal Rumble match? On what planet, if you're a wrestling fan, do you want to see another Royal Rumble match? To me, the Royal Rumble is 1 hour plus of 30 men competing for the number one contendership of whatever title they want to go for at WrestleMania. If a Raw superstar wins it, Universal title. If a SmackDown Live superstar wins it, WWE Championship. And the undercard is filled out with a WWE Championship, a Universal Championship, an Intercontinental Championship, a Women's Championship, and a Tag Team Championship. You can't even book the Royal Rumble correctly because there's so many fucking championships. That's somewhere, something's got to be on the pre-show. Back in the day, the Royal Rumble used to be booked with the Royal Rumble, WWE Championship, Intercontinental Championship, Tag Team Championship, and an undercard feud grudge match. That's it. That's it. What happened to the days of that? Simplistic booking. Now it's all convoluted, and it's all over the place. There's championships all over the place that are worthless to everybody. Nothing but props. Now you want to add a Women's Royal Rumble to that? Why, so you devalue not only your championships now with the plethora of championships you got running wild in the company, now you want to devalue the Royal Rumble? How is adding a Women's Royal Rumble going to enhance anything? Half of these women can't even go over the top rope correctly. Do you even have 30 women? Do you even have 30 women that you want to see in the Royal Rumble? No. There's men in the Royal Rumble that I don't want to see in the Royal Rumble. You're going to give me a Women's Royal Rumble and fill it with 30 women I don't give a shit about? It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. There's some things, and I'm not meaning this in a sexist way. I'm talking about a professional wrestling way. I'm all for giving the women opportunity. In fact, I'd love to be in charge of the women's division, to book it correctly. There's some things that women do not need. It's okay to make them equals. It's okay to give them a main event. It's okay to give them all this other shit so where they're even with the men. But there's also, on the other hand, things that women should not be competing in. One of them we already seen with Sasha and Charlotte inside Hell in a Cell. That should have never been done. And that was done to get over, oh, look at me. Look at our women's division. We got our women in Hell in a Cell. That's all that was done for. It was done as a, hey, look at me, we're doing this. You got to be watching. That's all they did that for. Now they're going to give you a Royal Rumble? Why would you ever go against the... Why would you ever just slap the Royal Rumble concept in the face like that? No. No. There's other ways to get a number one contendership for the Women's Championship at WrestleMania. And do you honestly trust WWE to take a Women's Championship and put it on a pedestal at WrestleMania and have the number one contender go all the way from January to April with a solid storyline in place? For the women. WWE can't even book their women with 1 week of television correctly. You're going to worry about 4 fucking months? Yeah. I'm sorry. Anybody wants to get salty over my opinion, you could take that and shove it where the sun don't shine. I really don't give a shit. I don't. I would never conceive a Royal Rumble for the women be done. Ever. It's ridiculous. It's a ridiculous notion. I'm all about giving women equal opportunity. But there's some things that should not be done. You want to do a ladder match? Fine. Fine. It's not out of the ordinary for a woman to climb a ladder and grab a briefcase or grab a title. You want to do a tables match? Fine. I'd love to see women go through tables. They're doing worse in Stardom, I'm sure. But a Hell in a Cell? After what we seen with that Hell in a Cell, do you want to see another women's Hell in a Cell? Of course not. Of course not. That match did more negative to the structure than I think I've ever seen. Some things women should not be booked doing in WWE. And I'm going to stick to my guns on that. Huge update on how long Jeff Hardy will be out quickly. This is an updated news story on how long Jeff Hardy is expected to be out from his shoulder surgery. According to PW Insider, Hardy was forced to have a second surgery which will now put him in the 6 to 9 month time frame for return. As a result, Jeff will likely miss WrestleMania 34 in New Orleans. The best case scenario would put him ready to make another surprise return, but that is highly unlikely right now. I would not rush Jeff Hardy back. I would really focus on Matt and getting him to be awoken. Since making his return at WrestleMania 33 in Orlando, Matt and Jeff have been relying on the nostalgia pop that occurred inside the Citrus Bowl, which led to the tag team winning their 7th tag team championship. However, the steam has been subsiding for the past few months, primarily due to their ongoing feud with Sheamus and Cesaro, which led to several matches, some of them very good, but we all knew that nostalgia pop was going to run the well dry. Matt needs to be broken. Jeff needs to go on his own and start fighting for singles championships on Monday Night Raw, because that's what ultimately Vince wants to do. Matt needs to be on his own in some way, awoken and broken, whatever they do. They got to find a runaround or way around it, and it needs to be done, man. Jeff is going to be out 6 to 9 months, more than likely missing WrestleMania 34 in New Orleans. Summer Rae hinting at retirement. WWE, is a place where wrestling resides. For some women and some men, they don't do much wrestling in WWE. They have dreams and aspirations of going to the WWE and wrestling. Sometimes that doesn't get off the ground. This is why Summer Rae is contemplating retirement. Fans haven't seen Summer Rae wrestle a match in I don't even know how long, man. Once a member of Total Divas, Summer's involvement in WWE is diminished to the point where some people wonder if she's even with the company employed anymore. Summer might be adding a little fuel to the fires of speculation when she recently posted on Instagram with this comment, and I quote, "Always wished we had a program together, this one and I," while she was tagging Sasha Banks in the same Instagram post. Some people might be able to read into this statement as if Summer Rae is speaking about her career in the past tense. Since we haven't seen Summer Rae in a while, this could very well be a sad reality. She is 33 years old, and she was seen in the crowd during the Mae Young Classic, but hasn't wrestled a match since the 2016 WWE brand extension draft. Well, maybe with the women's championships or women's tag team championships coming into play, they might have a use for Summer Rae. So, I don't know what's going on with that, but Summer Rae, not really the overall best in-ring performer, but she had potential. She had a great look. She definitely had, enough in-ring skills or enough capable in-ring skills to get by and get better with each time she was in there. WWE never gave her the opportunity to do so at all. So I don't know what's going on with Summer Rae. I'd like to see her at least back in some sort of, I would say, reworked gimmick. Spice her up a little bit. Get her back out there. Make her a little bit more serious instead of, oh, look at me, I'm the hot blonde, who was on Total Divas and I wear, booty shorts. No. That's all fine and great, but I also want to see Summer Rae wrestle as well, which I know that she can, but she was never given an opportunity to take that to the next level, and that's what bothers me most. To see talent wasted. You're paying her, why don't you use her? Or at least send her back down to NXT, where I'm sure they'll use her correctly and get her, back with the wheels rolling again for another possible call-up to the main roster. There's always a place for these people. WWE just doesn't care at all. We're going to continue on here, man. Bayley. Oh, cringely. Cringely. Every time I look at you, I want to cringe. Oh, cringely. Your ponytails make me cringe. Your face makes me cringe every Monday night on Raw. I could be the new Aiden English. Man. Bayley, possibly turning heel. Really? You mean WWE wants to do something right with Bayley? Or is this just a lot of talk and no credible sources to back it up? Bayley was interviewed by a UK magazine to promote their UK tour next month. There's been a lot of speculations amongst the fans that the current storyline, which I didn't even think there was one. I thought this was just a random pairing because WWE has nothing for them to do. Apparently it's a storyline. Current storyline between Bayley and Sasha Banks that will lead to Banks turning on her best friend. However, during the interview, Bayley was asked if it's possible for her character to get darker and meaner over the next few months. If a heel turn is in store for her. Now, I wouldn't necessarily use those terms. Darker. Meaner. When I think of darker, I see an Undertaker, or I see a Bray Wyatt, or I see a, I don't know, Ministry of Darkness. Darker. You take the Mummy with Brendan Fraser, and then you take the Mummy with Tom Cruise. Obviously, the newer one was darker, had a darker tone to it. Yeah, there was some cheesy moments, but it was an overall a darker tone. That's what I see. That's what I envision when I see darker. Is Bayley going to turn emo? Is she going to start listening to, I don't know, what are these, Alexandria on Fire, or one of these fucking bands that has a dude for a front man that looks like a female? You know, I want to slit my wrists because, you know, there wasn't any more Snapple iced tea at the supermarket. You know, whatever the fuck they're singing about now. I don't know, man. Who listens to this shit? Who listens to this shit? They cry over everything. They cry over everything, man. Oh, there wasn't enough Winter Fresh at Rite Aid. You know? You could come up with any fucking demoralizing notion or some shitty circumstance that happened to these fucking goons, and they'll make a song out of it. You know, I broke my fingernail. Listen to real music, please. Listen, if you are a dude with balls between your legs, listen to real music. If you're listening to these bands with a lead singer who wears eyeliner, you know, and you can't differentiate whether they're male or female, you have issues. You have issues. Nobody should be listening to that. If you're a grown man, you should not be listening to that. Okay? You should be listening to the Symphony X's and the Tremontis and the Alter Bridges and the Cannibal Corpses and the Creators and the Exoduses and the Testaments. I could go on and on and on. You know? Jesus Christ. Is Bayley going to turn emo? Maybe. It might be good. It might be good, man. I don't know. But Bayley wasn't booked, you know, darker in NXT. Bayley was booked with balls. You know, when Sasha Banks pushed her buttons down in NXT, Bayley pushed those buttons right back. You know, I just want her to have some sense of urgency, you know, instead of being caned by Alexa Bliss and losing a match in 5 minutes at Extreme Rules and then, Corey Graves, can I give you a hug, man? What am I watching here? Am I watching a professional wrestling program, or am I watching a show that is being scripted by a kindergarten who's coloring outside the lines in a coloring book thinking it's right? Maybe Monday Night Raw is being booked by that same kindergarten kid. That's what it seems like. Maybe the whole kindergarten class is booking Smackdown Live. I can't tell. Anyway. She says, I don't know if I have to go to the dark side, although I do read all the tweets. Do you? Do you read mine where I say that you're cringe? I do know it's what the fans are kind of hoping for. End quote. She did acknowledge that she reads the tweets and she needs to get more aggressive in the ring, and her character might need to break away from following the rules all the time. You know, let your ponytails hang loose, Bayley. Might do you some good. Seems like they're a little too tight there, bro. She added, and I quote, I realized when I was out with my injury that I need to go about things differently and not let people push me around so much, end quote. On this week's episode of Monday Night Raw, there were no signs of trouble between Bayley and Sasha Banks, but Emma turned on her partner, Alicia Fox, so it's looking like we will see Emma and Alicia Fox versus, I guess, Sasha and Bayley at the pay-per-view, being that they're not booked. Then who does that leave for Asuka? Is Asuka going to be fed a bum? Some idiot off the streets? They'll probably walk into Petco and find somebody shopping down aisle 4 where the dog food is. Hey, honey, you want to be on TLC? Oh, yeah, what is that? TLC? You're going to get your ass kicked by Asuka. We'll pay you $5,000. Oh, yeah, sure. As long as you can buy my 8 cats and 9 dogs some food, man. These random fucking scragglers that they find just roaming anywhere in whatever city they're in. What city's TLC taking place in? I don't even know anymore. Whatever. Speaking of Alicia Fox, she was on Lilian Garcia's podcast, and I made mention of this earlier in the show. She was on there, and she was talking about the TV time, that she has a lack of significant TV time on WWE programming. This was a candid interview, apparently. She expressed frustration with how she's been used during her time in WWE and the fact that there is no merchandise being sold with her name on it. Who would buy Alicia Fox merchandise? Why is there any reason to buy Alicia Fox merchandise if she's not on TV? Even if she was on TV, why would you buy Alicia Fox merchandise? That's worse than the guy sitting front row in No Mercy wearing Bayley gear. Braids and hair ties and fucking purple shirts. Just as worse as that. If you're a grown man, you should not be wearing an Alicia Fox t-shirt. I will take nothing out of your mouth seriously. Oh, but JD, he's a fan, man! A fan? You can be a fan, but at a distance. When a male wears a female's t-shirt, it's a little odd to me. A little odd. I'm going to be brutally honest with you. Normally, those people are what we call creepers. But, you know, it is what it is. I can't have a valid opinion anymore. I have to be politically correct. Where am I? Alicia Fox is the latest guest on Chasing Glory with Lilian Garcia. This is what she says, and I quote, I guess like sometimes I feel like I'm embarrassed. I feel like embarrassed. What's with the likes already? I can't even read this fucking first sentence without saying like 4 times. I guess like sometimes I feel embarrassed of my career in a sense. Because, like, when the fans come up and they're like, oh, underrated or this or that, I really never realized that until social media popped up. And it's like, then I'm left thinking I am underrated. Why don't I get, like, one, a storyline like the other girls, or don't have a match or merch like the other girls? I never had any merch like, even when the Bella twins and I were together, it was still Team Bella. I never complained about any of those things because I'm like, in my head, it's okay. You know, it's a lot of fluffy content thinking. But you know, maybe it's not okay. But then it upsets me and gets me angry because then I'm thinking, well, you know, what will my next chapter look like? Is it going to be okay? I'm not putting food on my table or whatever my career is at its cruise control or something along those lines, you know? Later on in the interview, she said, my self-dialogue is so intense sometimes I don't even want to be near me. But only because apparently Wade Barrett didn't want to be near you either. Zing. I don't even want to be near me, but only because I just want more for myself. And sometimes creatively the matches are structured in a certain way. This place does not validate who I am as a person. I don't want it to be the only thing that I have that is my definition. So there you go. She also talks about in this very podcast her relationship and the breakup with Wade Barrett and why she broke up with Wade Barrett. So there you go. If you guys want all those juicy details, you guys can go listen to Chasing Glory with Lilian Garcia. But apparently, according to Xavier Woods, nobody listens to podcasts anymore or wrestling podcasts. Yeah, sure. Moving on here, man. We're going to end with this one. Big story here about the WWE locker room being furious with Shane McMahon's booking. Now, is Shane McMahon booking Smackdown Live? Or are the fans, or the locker room rather, upset with how Shane McMahon is being booked? The character Shane McMahon being booked. Well, at Hell in a Cell, Shane McMahon will face Kevin Owens inside Hell in a Cell with another stipulation making it Falls Count Anywhere. Thanks a lot, WWE, for making it predictable. It will be the latest big match for Shane O'Mac since his return to the WWE roughly a year and a half ago. Over that time, he had big matches with The Undertaker, AJ Styles, and will add Kevin Owens to the list on Sunday. However, not everyone in WWE is happy about this fact. It's being reported that some WWE superstars in the locker room are not pleased with Shane McMahon's booking on WWE television. There is some resentment about the special treatment he receives from WWE officials. Excuse me. I had coffee before I recorded, so, you know. There is some resentment about the special treatment he receives from WWE officials and Vince McMahon because he's given big stunts and moments to make his matches special. Well, that's what you get when you're Vince's son. What do you expect? However, Shane's schedule only asks him to wrestle 2 matches a year. So Shane has the added privilege of doing a big stunt and then resting afterwards, recuperating from his injuries. Some people backstage are furious because they feel Shane is showing them up with his big stunts. But he also receives time off to heal, unlike most of the full-time wrestlers. A recent report revealed that Shane has become one of the biggest draws for the company when he does wrestle. On paper, that gives WWE officials all the more reason to continue booking Shane as they have been, but the locker room doesn't appreciate it. Owens vs. McMahon has been one of the hottest feuds following SummerSlam, as their feud comes to a head at WWE Hell in a Cell tonight, which I will be reviewing after the show goes off the air, clowns. Make sure you guys are tuned into the channel. Their match is expected to deliver on the high expectations and will likely lead to some bigger storylines on WWE television. There's been some speculation about Triple H returning and replacing Shane McMahon as the commissioner of SmackDown Live for the rest of the year, which will eventually lead to a program with Kevin Owens, bro. Kevin Owens, you look like a refrigerator, bro. You gotta lose some weight there, bro. You know? For all the trips you make to the refrigerator, you could have lost about 20 pounds, bro. Vince Russo, bro. So, on paper, the powers that be, it's not made of wood. The powers that be, he's certainly a part of them. Powers that be will be adding the Falls Count Anywhere stipulation to the match, pretty much meaning that there's going to be another big stunt planned. The last time Shane was featured in Hell in a Cell, he jumped off the structure at WrestleMania 32. And I will never forget that moment. There was a bunch of pillows and airy shit underneath the table to make the landing a little bit more easy on him, which I don't blame them for doing. But the one thing that I do take away from that entire segment is Michael Cole is standing there as he gets up from the obviously scripted part that's coming, and he's looking at his notes, and then he's looking at the action. He's like, I don't know what he said. God almighty, he's broken in half! Garbage. If you need verbiage on a paper to sell that moment, you shouldn't be a commentator. Or something in gorilla position or something in that company is completely off. So whatever the case may be, since the match with Owens can end anywhere in the arena, it's very likely that a huge stunt will end the match, or any huge stunt will end the match. WWE Universe expects a massive stunt from Shane during his matches almost all the time. I mean, there wasn't really anything major in the AJ Styles match, but there was a lot of high-flying moments, which made that the best match on WrestleMania 32's card. The locker room may not like it, but his matches sell, and the powers that be try to give the fans what they want. Well, this is my take on this, okay? Yes, if I am a WWE superstar and I see the boss's son reaping all these benefits and getting stunts to upstage the entire locker room and then getting recuperative time after the show is over for about 2 or 3 weeks, only to come back feeling good, you know? Yeah, I would be upset, but I would also understand it. Sami Zayn was interviewed earlier this year about how he would love to main event WrestleMania and how he feels about all the part-timers coming in each and every single year, to WrestleMania, on a part-time basis, taking the full-time spots away. He understands that WWE does that because, they are in this business to make money. So I'm not going to really be all that upset about it because WWE is in the business to make money. And if Shane is going to make money, and if Shane is going to add network subscriptions, and people are going to hop on the network, and they're going to want to see Shane McMahon dive off a 20-foot cage and kill himself or do some crazy stunt, then they're going to book Shane McMahon to jump off a 20-foot cage and nearly kill himself on pay-per-view. Okay, because that's what people want. People want excitement. People want high risk. People want those breathtaking moments because we don't see them often. But then it also goes, this is a really, really gray area. It also goes back to the point where, if one guy is doing it, or if you're allowing someone like Shane McMahon to do it, you should be allowed, or you should be allowed to do it too, or they should allow the rest of the locker room to at least attempt something to get themselves over. But, it goes back to the WWE political agenda. They don't want you to get over if it is not your time. At certain points, they may never want you to get over. If they don't want you to get over, they don't want you doing anything, and they will never put you in a position to do anything where you can get yourself over, because then they're going to be forced to push you. Then they're going to be forced to put you on TV when they don't want to put you on TV. A.K.A. Daniel Bryan. They didn't want to put Daniel Bryan in the main event of WrestleMania, but what happened? Everybody wanted it, and they had no choice, WWE, than to put Daniel Bryan in the main event. They had to put him there. They had to rework the entire fucking card for WrestleMania. That was supposed to be Batista versus Randy Orton in the main event. That was their vision. This is how stupid this company is. That's what they wanted for WrestleMania. So we all spoke up, and Daniel Bryan got in, and they put him in a number one contenders match against Triple H. He beat Triple H, and then he made his way to the main event and made it a triple threat match. They reworked everything. They reworked the entire foundation for WrestleMania 30 because we spoke up. They didn't want to push Daniel Bryan. With Punk leaving, they all wanted to just go on and say, you know what, fine, Punk's gone. We don't want to worry about this fucking vanilla midget bullshit. These indie marks, whatever. We're going to do Batista versus Randy Orton at WrestleMania. You know? But then everybody, kind of seen what they were doing with Batista, and came the rise of Daniel Bryan. They wanted the working man, the everyday working man, to get a fucking piece of the pie. And we did that. WWE doesn't want that to happen again. They want to give you television, and they want to force it down your throat. They want to tell you what they want. No matter all the surveys, no matter all the, the fans of the heartbeat. Bullshit. We are not the heartbeat. We're puppets. We're going to watch regardless. I'm going to bitch and moan every fucking week, but I'm going to watch regardless because that's what I do. I'm a fan. And I sit here in hopes of it getting better. But the fans don't have a voice. They don't have a voice here. And neither do these guys. So if they want a stunt like that, or if they want a big-time moment like that, they're not going to get it. And they're not going to have the opportunity to, because WWE knows that if someone like Dolph Ziggler goes out there and fucking wows the crowd with something like that, then he's going to get over. But WWE doesn't want people to, get behind a Dolph Ziggler or a Luke Harper or someone along those lines. If you're not in their card deck, then you're shit out of luck. But I can understand why some people would be upset with it, and I can understand why WWE does it. I see both sides of the coin here. But you really can't say much about it. It's Vince's son. It's Vince's company. If Vince wants to book his son in life or death situations just to sell a few network subscriptions and to sell a B-level pay-per-view with a failure as your WWE champion on the card fighting someone the likes of Shinsuke Nakamura, then fine. He's going to do that. So you can't be upset because of what Vince McMahon is going to do to his son. That's his son. Ultimately, he's going to have first dibs. He's a McMahon. What do you expect? But I also see the people who might be upset about it, and I also see WWE side. I don't know how credible this story is. This is something that's been talked about for several months now. This was talked about during WrestleMania. Shane McMahon's part-time. He wrestles twice a year. He's just like, he's not on the same level as a Brock Lesnar, obviously, but he's just as worse as a Brock Lesnar, coming in, holding the title hostage for 4 months, for a whole year, and keeping it off television. Shane McMahon ultimately is taking away, a spot from a full-time guy who can be in there with Kevin Owens. He's taking a spot away from Sami Zayn, But then the storyline wouldn't be as intriguing with Sami Zayn there, plugged in the Shane McMahon role. The commissioner, the authority figure versus the heel-like rebel who's going to do what he wants and he's going to disobey the rules. It's a tired and stale storyline, but it works. WWE made it work here. That's why Shane McMahon is there. Nobody else plugged into that situation is going to enhance the storyline like Shane McMahon could. That's why Shane is there. Ultimately, that's why he's there. When people can develop a character like Shane McMahon, obviously they have to be given an opportunity, but, when they can reach that level of must-see attraction, then you have every right to complain. Listen, I should be in there with Kevin Owens. But then it goes right back to where we began. WWE doesn't give opportunities for guys to get over on that type of level because they don't want it to happen. I could see this being true, but for the most part, I understand why they're doing it. And it's not going to take away the excitement of what I think is going to be a great match at Hell in a Cell tonight on the WWE Network. Thank you guys so much. That is Off the Script. I am going to get out of here. I'm going to relax. And I will be back next week with Off the Script. I will be back next week with sub-stories, man. I've been getting sub-stories emailed to me. You guys can still email me your sub-stories, man. I got a bunch of them backlogged. Sorry that I haven't done them in a couple of weeks. I just wanted to get, the wrestling out there. And I myself have not really I myself haven't really felt that well to begin with. But, I do want to, make sure you guys are aware that sub-stories is still a thing on Off the Script, even though I did not do it for the last couple of weeks. Everything deserves a break, man. To me, I want to make sure these shows get out there, and the one thing that's most important here is the content within the videos and the wrestling news that's there. You know, I'm not going through the best of times right now. I don't know what it is. I don't know what, you know, I don't know what's going on. Honestly, you know, this year has been up and down for me. Sometimes I feel like I'm suffering through minor depression. Sometimes I just sit around and I don't have the energy to do anything. Sometimes I just don't want to even record. But I always find a way to force myself to record. And, you know, I myself, you know, should write my own sub-story. You know, it would probably take up a whole fucking hour of off the script if I was to sit down and pen my own sub-story. But I want to make sure you guys are aware that your stories are in my phone. You guys have, you know, your stories in my email. It's there. So it's coming next week, and I don't want to deter people from not sending me your stories. I love reading your sub-stories. It's just, you know, I just haven't felt myself the last couple of weeks, you know. And there's a lot of reasons for that. That's pretty much it, man. I'm not going to talk about anything else regarding what's going on with me as far as the drama goes. Not really important. You know, it's not going to deter what we do here. People know that I'm talented at what I do. People know that I have a great voice. People know that I have a great platform. People know that I have a brand here. So whatever's being said about me, or whatever, you know, attack that there is, it's being done to generate buzz on their end, because there's no other material for them to come up with. And I don't want to give people more ammunition, so I'm not going to say anything. You know, maybe for my Patreons, I'll say a little something just in a respectful way, but other than that, I'm really not going to discuss anything as far as drama goes. I'm here to do one thing and one thing only, and that is get the content out there to you guys and make sure this always stays the #1 podcast for WWE right here on YouTube.com. This is episode 190 of Off the Script. I am JD. Thank you guys so very much. I'll be back tonight with Hell in a Cell reviewing results. I might have some Hell in a Cell videos, just minor news stories out as we get closer to the pay-per-view, so look forward to that. It could drop at any time between Off the Script and when the show goes on the air tonight at 8 p.m. on the network. But I'm JD, man. I'll see you guys right back here for episode 191, man. Next week starts 9 weeks until episode 200. I still don't know what I'm doing. I don't know how I'm going to go about it. I don't know if I'm celebrating on episode 200 or episode 206, because I'm JD from NY206. 206 is my birthday. I don't know, man. So it is what it is. But I will see you guys right back here for episode 191 of Off the Script right here on YouTube.com. I'm JD. Make sure to hit that thumbs up and check out all the sponsors this weekend. Thank you to Fight TV. Thank you to Patreon. All my Patreons. You guys got shout-outs in the beginning of the video. Thank you guys so very much. Patreon.com/JD from NY206. Get your t-shirts. Barbershopwindow.com/Off the Script. And they are beautiful. And I do not steal designs. No matter how many people want to say, yeah, they're siding with me, and then all of a sudden backtrack on what they say. I do not steal designs. And if you guys want to get your Audible trial going, audibletrial.com/Off the Script, man. Thank you guys so much. I'll see you next week, and I'll see you tonight for Hell in a Cell. I'll talk to you later.